So I raided my sister's outfit, not her outfit. I raided my sister's crafty cabinet yesterday, and I have much better disguises now. Mad props to having sisters that do crafty projects. So yeah, coolest thing happened yesterday, man. Went to this like march protest thing, because I just want to get involved. I think it's really cool. Everything that's happening right now, I just want to be involved. But I don't have a political side, man. I'm like, people ask me about my political sides. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm like, what are you into? Like, I never talk about religion. I never talk about politics, and I never talk about what somebody does for a living. I also never talk about whether somebody has children or not. I never talk about anything like that. Subjects that I tend to avoid. I just focus on like what the person does, like their hobbies, what they enjoy doing, like how was their day, that kind of thing. That way, you don't trigger anything that could spark up a negative emotion in a person. You know, if you ask them like what they do for a living, and they don't really like their job, or they have like a job that like they're not proud of, or if they don't have a job, it immediately makes them feel upset and makes them go on, like it makes them like self-recognize their issues, or and so, or even if they like their job, I don't know. I mean, do they really want to talk about their job? I don't know. So like when I meet people and they're like, "Hey, what do you do? What do you do for?" It's like, why do you care? Like, why is that so important, man? Like honestly, do you like want to know how much money I make a year, or like my status in the world? Because that has nothing to do with the being. If you want to find out what's important to a person, just be like, what do you like? What's important to you, man? Like, what do you enjoy doing? Like, what's meaningful to you? Now that's a better question than like, what do you do for a living? You know what I mean? Like, because like that's everything. Like, what do you find meaningful in life? What do you value? What's your why? Like, what do you wake up every morning and you love to do? Like, that's what it's all about, man. That's a beautiful question to ask somebody, instead of like, what do you do for a living, or what do you do? Like, what's your job? Like nobody wants to talk about it. I mean, like some people do because they like to brag, but like, the chances of running into somebody that likes to brag about their job, it might be very rare, dude. This is cool. I'm like a walrus today. I like this. Arr. I like it because it's more like Viking warrior, even though it sheds a little bit. It's I. So, yeah. So I don't really talk about anything like that. But anyways, the coolest thing happened, right? So I pee a lot because I drink a lot of coffee and a lot of water. That's the only two things I drink. Like I said yesterday, I don't drink sugar, right? Because it causes like severe depression. And I stay away from anything that causes severe depression, just so I don't commit suicide. And I'm not fucking, going in and out of manic and depressive stages more often. So, so yeah, so yeah, so I'm at like this protest rally march thing, and we're like walking the streets, and I really gotta pee, and there's a bathroom close by. So I'm like, yo, wait, sorry. I'm like, yo, I'm like, sis, I'm gonna, go use the bathroom. And I'm gonna like go put this tea I just bought for you guys like on the car. And she's like, all right, we'll be walking, you catch up to us, we're moving pretty slow. So I'm like, cool. So so I go pee, I put the tea on the car, and I can't find him, man. Like they're like walking all over the freaking place, right? And finally, I run into some people at the park where, like, the event started. And I'm like, yo, you know where the protest is, man? Like, I can't even hear him anymore. And I could, like, barely hear him even, but, like, I really couldn't hear him anymore. And they were freaking loud, man. There was, like, 700, 800 people, just, like, screaming and going crazy. And, like, Black Lives Matter and all this stuff. It was nuts. And it was pretty cool, though. And so And I'm a big fan of black people because like I play a lot of basketball. And that's not a racist comment or anything like that, but a lot of black people play basketball, and I play basketball with a lot of black people. And that's not stereotyping or anything like that. A lot of white people play basketball too, but I tend to talk with a lot of black people because I play basketball a lot. So yeah, so I'm cool with black people, man, for sure. Like they're cool motherfuckers. Didn't mean to curse. So you know, but I can't categorize all people. Like I mean, there might be some white people that are awful, and there might be some white people that are cool, and there might be some black people that are awful, and there might be some black people that are cool. I don't want to stereotype. Like whatever, man. This is why I don't get into politics, right? So, or talking about that kind of thing. So, anyways, so they're like, yeah. So like the people in the park that asked like, where are the protests? They're like, yo, they like go down this block. They went down US 1. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm walking down US 1, and I live in like a pretty like where this war rally was held. It's like a pretty richy. It's like a rich area where a lot of rich people live, like actors and like things like that. So anyways, so I'm like walking down US 1, and people are passing by me, and they're holding banners and signs and stuff like that because they're done like hanging out with the rally because it's been going on for like 2 hours now, and we've already walked like 3 miles. And so I'm saying hi to people and things like that, and I'm like eating rice with like you know Greek yogurt and teriyaki sauce in it, and like a plastic spoon because I forgot my spoon. I didn't forget it. I lost it in the car. Anyways, so I'm, I'm walking down the street, and this man, about my age, in his 40s, is holding a child on his shoulder, and the kid's, I don't even know, like maybe 4 or 5, 6 years old, something like that. And his wife is walking with him, and his wife is like taller than him, maybe even taller than me, man. She was like blonde hair, probably like 5'11", 6 foot, 5'10" and a half. She's a tall girl, and or tall woman, sorry. And he's got like a Joe Biden hat on, and like and he looks my age. So I see him coming, and they're coming on the sidewalk. And whenever I see people walking in groups on a sidewalk, even if it's like a man and a woman, I always step off the sidewalk onto the grass and just stop and just allow them to pass. I never continue walking because that's disrespectful. That's inappropriate. Like if there's people, because sidewalks are only so big, and you shouldn't do that. You should always kind of like step to the side and walk around them. But I choose to just step to the side, and just chill out and like exchange pleasantries with the people, and just be like, hey, how's it going, when they finally get to me. So I just step to the side, and the man and the woman and the guy holding the kid, they're walking past me, and I'm like, hey guys, how's the day going? And the guy looks at me, and like right away I know the guy. I'm like, and he looks at me, and he's like, good man, great, how are you doing? And I was like, great man, thank you. I'm like, have a great day, guys. And like we both smile at each other. And like when I'm not severely suicidally depressed, or when I don't have anxiety, because I am like different from like minute to minute, hour to hour. Sometimes like I can't handle being around people. Sometimes I'm scared of people. Sometimes I have extreme anxiety. But sometimes, since like I've worked so hard and I've been so dedicated at learning so much about like psychology, spirituality, nutrition, not having any sugar in my diet, proper sleep, like essentially, like if you're borderline personality disorder or bipolar or have any mental illness or severe clinical depression, any of these forms of mental illness, or any BPD or anything like that, in order to not commit suicide, like honestly, or in order to not be depressed constantly, you really need to be a superhuman. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, regular people could be regular people. That's their choice. But for us, you have to become a superhuman just to survive. Just so you don't fucking kill yourself. You have to become a goddamn superhuman. It's fucking ridiculous. It's exhausting. Don't get me wrong. It's fucking heinously exhausting. But you have to, if you want to fucking live. And not only if you want to live, if you don't want everybody else in your life to be fucking miserable. Because if there's one thing I know as a fucking bipolar and borderline personality disorder person, is I fucking made life for people fucking terrible. I've been such an asshole to people. I've been such a fucking tremendous asshole to people. My sister will be the first one to tell you. Like, my sister has finally accepted me as a nice, decent human within, like, probably the last 3 months. I'm 42. So for the first 41 years and 9 months of my life, however the fucking that shit adds up, for the first 41 years of my life, let's just say that, like, my sister thought I was a raging asshole, and I didn't give a fuck about anybody but myself. And for the most part, that shit was straight up true. Because I wasn't working on myself. I didn't give a fuck about other people at all. I did not care about people at fucking all. If I fucking yelled at them, if I fucking got angry at them, if I fucking cursed them out, I didn't give a fuck. Because, like, as long as I was happy. Like, and that's what it was all about. As long as I was fucking happy. Like, I didn't give a fuck about anybody. All I cared about was me. That was it. And that's why my fucking sister, like, that's why my sister fucking is just like, yo, dude, you're a fucking straight up asshole. And, like, that's legitly it. So, it's extremely important to fucking, like, work on yourself. Like, extremely important. Not just for you, but for fucking your family and your friends, if you have any family left, or if you have friends. Having trouble with my new costume, it's not fucking working. But, like, yeah, man, it's so fucking important. I'm removing some of the stuff because my fucking outfit's falling apart. Yeah, man, but yeah, this shit is extremely important. Like, so you have to become a superhuman. You gotta study psychology. You gotta study everything. Just so you don't fucking, cause misery to your family or your friends or anybody else in your life, even the people that you work with, man. It's fucking really fucking smart. It's smart to be that way because, like, the more and more you work on yourself and you become this fucking superhuman. That's all spiritual and psychological and like, focuses on nutrition and what works and what doesn't cause depression and, like, what will make you happier or more fulfilled in life. You start treating people around you better, dude. Like, honestly, it's just the fucking way it goes. It's fucking exhausting. I wake up every fucking morning at 4:20. For all you marijuana people out there. I'm just kidding. No, but like, well, my alarm is set for 4:40. But I keep fucking waking up at like 4:19, 4:20, 4:21, like 4:11. So it's just like, I wake up fucking early. Right now it's 7:56. What the fuck? Most people aren't even up now. I've been up for like fucking 4 hours and shit. What do I do in those 4 hours? I fucking just, like, sit by myself on the fucking floor. Sometimes I'll put on psychology or a spirituality lecture by, like, Eckhart Tolle, Sadhguru, somebody like that. But normally I won't put on a psychology or spirituality. Maybe I'll do that later in the day when the birds aren't out as much. And I'll just open the window, listen to the birds, And if you live in the fucking, like, in a winter climate, like Massachusetts or some shit like that, you can put on, like, get one of those fucking sound machines that I have with the waves. Fucking put it on, like, bird sounds and shit. Just to hear, like, nature. So I open up the window, and I listen to the birds, and I cook. It takes me 3 hours to fucking cook every morning. Because I'm, like, present, and I'm zen, and I'm, like, there, and I'm, like... And it's, like, it's my time to be with myself. So, but I go to bed fucking early as shit. I go to bed at like 8:45. Not fucking with you. So like my mornings are my nights, and my nights are nothing really. My nights are nothing. I don't have nights anymore. Because every time I have nights, fucking my life falls apart, man. It's one of the reasons why I stopped drinking. Just become a major raging asshole when I drink. So anyways, fuck, this video's starting to suck. Anyways, so yeah, so fuck. So fuck yeah. So shit. So yeah. So fuck it. So I'm walking down the goddamn street. And I'm like, when I'm not all fucked up in the head from like my BPD or like bipolar shit or like my anxiety or like fucking sleep deprivation or some shit, I'm extremely like confident and present, and I have this thing called like the Buddha smile. It's like seriously a fucking Buddha smile, because it's like a true smile. Like it's a smile with the eyes. I don't know if you've ever done psychology research on that shit, but it's like a real smile, and people know when you're really smiling. And after me and this guy, we like say hi to each other and stuff. Like, he smiles at me and I'm smiling at him at the same time. And like, we catch this thing. Like, we were both extremely fulfilled in life. We were both extremely confident. And we were both, like, all of the decisions that we led to in our entire life had created this thing in life where, like, him being fulfilled and still having a child and a wife that was taller than him, and me having the decency and the respect and the awareness to step off to the side and stop moving and ask them about their day in a positive, like, loving, kind manner. And you could tell it was like actually caring. And that's why a lot of people like to talk to me, because it's like I've gone through so much suffering that I have severe empathy for other humans, when I'm not that fucking homicidal psychopath that only has empathy for people if their fucking children are dying, or if their children died. That guy's just a straight up fucking asshole. The fact that I become him, fuck, man, I wish I could just throw that guy out the fucking window. Unfortunately, I become him quite a bit. So, but everything in our life had led to that moment in time. Me being kind, loving, and respectful, and confident, and present, and aware. To step off the side of the walk and, ask them about how they were doing. And when we smiled at each other, like I knew that, like he was just a really great person. Like, he was just a really great person. And I could just sense that about him. From, like, the way he seemed fulfilled. And him having the child on his shoulder. And his wife walking next to him. Like, everything seemed okay. And I think that's what a lot of people would love to have in this life. They would love to feel fulfilled like that. And as he smiled and I smiled back at him, like our eyes met and we both had like the Buddha eyes, which means you are leading a life of fulfillment. And awareness and presence and acceptance and letting go. And that's where the Buddha eyes come from. They do. I've studied enough psychology and spirituality to know. A lot of people know that. So, he passes me and I'm like, I know that guy. And I'm like, not only do I know him, I've seen him a lot. Like, a lot. And, like, I'm looking at him as he's walking, like, 10, 15 feet away. And he's got these fucking, like fun, like, colorful socks, like, pulled up, like, almost to his calf muscle. And they're, like, all colorful, and they kind of have, like, cartoons on him and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? Who is that fucking guy? And then I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, I've seen him in fucking like movies and shit. What the fuck? And I was about to like fucking like, speed walk up to him or like call out to him and be like, yo dude. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, you're like a fucking actor and shit. What the fuck? Like, you're like, what the fuck? I've seen you like so many fucking times. But I've never met you. Like, but I've seen you fucking, like, so many goddamn times, right? But I'm like, no, fuck it, don't do that shit, man. Like, don't do that shit. That'll just fucking ruin the moment. You be that fucking guy, right? So I'm, like, walking. I'm like, who the fuck is it? And I'm trying to go through all these movies. Or, like, even shows or Netflix shows that I've seen. I'm like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? So I get to my sister, and I, like, just tell her about, like, what just happened. And I'm like, yeah, like, but I can't think of who this guy was. I'm like, I'll have to like IMDb a ton of shit, And then I'm like walking and like we're like, hearing the chanting, and about 15 minutes later, all of a sudden it just pops into my fucking head. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, he's the fucking like co-star. He's like one of the main three people in the new fucking Star Wars movies and shit. He's the fucking white, the tan dude that fucking always hangs out with like Daisy Ripley and fucking the other guy, the black dude. They're like the trio. They're like the best friends. I'm like, he's the fucking guy from the Best Friends 3 Squad. I'm like, that's fucking insane. Because like I'm a huge fucking diehard Star Wars fan, man. And like I just saw that movie, his last movie, the last Star Wars movie, The Rise of Skywalker, in the movie theater a couple of months ago, and I fucking loved it, man. Like, honestly, I think it was one of the best Star Wars movies of all goddamn time. And I'm like, holy shit, man, that's fucking awesome. And I'm like, that 6 degrees of separation shit, like Kevin Bacon, degrees of separation shit. I'm like, oh my god, that means like I'm 1 degree separation away from Daisy Ripley, and I'm fucking in love with Daisy Ripley, like fucking for real. And I also think she's borderline, or she's bipolar, but I think she's more like borderline personality disorder. I think a couple of people are that are famous. I think Daisy Ripley for sure, borderline personality disorder, maybe bipolar. Taylor Swift for sure, borderline, or she's got that Hollywood personality disorder for sure. Those are the only two really that I know of. But I think both of them are either borderline or bipolar. Probably both of them are borderline. Yeah, especially because Taylor Swift goes on tour and shit. You can't keep that kind of shit up if you're like bipolar. But maybe Taylor's just got like that Hollywood personality disorder, where like you're just born to be fucking like this obsessed person for fame and Hollywood and like entertaining people. So so yeah, so his name, I IMDb'd him. I didn't know his real name. His name is like Oscar Isaac. Oscar Isaac. Yeah, he's from like, he was born in Guatemala or some shit. I thought he was Italian, but from Guatemala. But yeah, it was fucking so dope, dude. It was like, fuck. Because I fucking love Star Wars, dude. Hell yeah. So anyways, but the moral of this fucking story is, when you meet somebody famous, don't fucking freak out. Just say hi to them. Most of the time, you won't even know that they're famous until you pass by them and you'll be like, oh shit, what the fuck? And number 2, start studying fucking psychology and spirituality and shit so you're not a fucking asshole to your family and your friends if they're still in your life. And if you burn so many bridges with your fucking family and friends for being a goddamn asshole to them, just fucking do the work. Do the work, study the fucking psychology, the spirituality, the nutrition, the fitness, the sleep, stretching every day, walking every day, doing yoga every day, whatever the fuck it is. And if you fucking have extreme anxiety, fucking pace around your goddamn house. One time I couldn't fucking leave the house for like 5-6 years because I had such severe fucking anxiety. I was so scared of people. I would pace in my fucking house for hours. Oh my god, I was so fucking delusional and crazy. But yeah, man. So yeah, do the fucking work, man. So you don't fucking cause misery to the people around you. So you don't cause misery to your fucking family. It's really fucking easy to do the work. I don't want to say it's easy. You should never say anything's easy, but it's simple. Now that we have YouTube, there's no fucking excuse anymore. It's like, what choices are you making every day? What are you doing with your time? Especially if you're borderline personality disorder or bipolar or clinically depressed and you're on SSI and you don't have to fucking go to a job for 8 hours. Take the time, since you don't have a fucking job because you're on SSI, even if you're on fucking drugs or if you drink a lot, you could still fucking watch YouTube videos on spirituality and psychology or nutrition or fitness or proper sleeping. Even if you're fucking high or even if you're fucking drunk, you'll retain some of it. but yeah, do the work so you're not a fucking asshole to people. Shit. Because once you stop being an asshole to people, people are gonna want to fucking spend time with you. Because you're like not reacting anymore with your emotions. You're responding. Like DBT, like dialectical behavior says. Take the second to be present, to respond. And the more and more you study like spirituality, psychology, and nutrition, and sleep, the more you'll be present. Because you won't be fucking exhausted or fucking suicidally depressed. And when you're present, and you're not suicidally depressed, you can be more kind and loving to others. Because the only way to be kind and loving to others is to be present and awakened and aware. That's the only fucking way it happens. Ever. I don't give a fuck who you say. Everybody running around saying like, oh, be kind and loving, be kind and loving. It don't work like that. The only way to be kind and loving, I'm not fucking with you. The only way to be kind and loving is to not be thinking and worrying about your own problems, to not be depressed, to not be somewhere else, to not be in 2 places at one time, and to be completely awakened, aware, and present. And that is how you become kind and loving. Like yesterday with like Oscar Isaacs, the Star Wars dude, I was completely present and aware. And that is how my energy came off as loving. And when Oscar Isaac saw that, he became loving in return because he was aware of my energy. And confidence also comes from that too. If you struggle from confidence, being present and aware and awakened is the way for confidence. If you look back at one of my last videos, I watched it yesterday and I was like, holy fuck, that video was fucking sick. It was the one on Finding Heaven on Earth with the like fucking lightning and shit, and the like fucking lights were coming on and off and shit, and I was talking about not being a person anymore and being the present moment and the being, and detaching and not being a person but being present and being creation and existence. That's exactly it. And that's the only way to be a loving person. I'm not fucking with you, man. Like, fucking all the yogis and the Buddhists in the world will back me up on that shit. Even with Jesus Christ. Even with fucking Eckhart Tolle. Even with fucking, what's her face? Katie fucking, Ledecky, I don't know, she's a fucking swimmer. But, like, no, that shit is fucking legit. So, work on your shit, man. Fuck it. You ain't got fucking shit else to do. Fuck it. Walrus's rule, motherfuckers. Oh. I hope you're having a good day. It was really nice today. I'm not depressed at all. I'm not suicidal. I'm not even thinking. A little fucking delusional and fucking crazy today. A little kind of manic. But it don't fucking matter. As long as I'm not fucking wanting to kill people and I'm not homicidal. That's what it's all about. I wrote this in my book. Did I? I don't know. But I once said to myself, I said this shit to myself all the time. If ever I'm beating up on myself and I'm on like SSI and I think I'm a piece of shit and because I should be working, whatever the case, and I'm getting fucking, I'm like being really hard on myself. And I'm like, fucking torturing myself and I'm like beating myself up. And I'm like, you piece of shit, fuck you, you suck, that kind of thing, like negative self-talk. Like that poison, that toxic talk. I'm like, Winning Row. I'm like, listen, Winning Row. Or Joe. I'm like, Joe. I'm like, are you suicidal today? And then I answer back and I'm like, no, I'm not suicidal today. And I'm like, okay, are you homicidal today? And I'm like, no. Be like, are you fucking so depressed that you want to kill yourself today? And I'm like, no. And they're like, then fucking leave me alone. I'm fucking fine, you piece of shit. Just fucking leave me alone. Sometimes you gotta talk back to that fucking negative voice. Fucking curse it out. Because that negative voice, that's the past. That's the childhood. That's the negativity you heard from childhood. That's the abuse. That's the trauma. That's all that bullshit. You gotta fucking beat that motherfucker down with a stick. Be like, oh, fuck you then, negative voice. Rock on, motherfuckers! And buy my ebook, you pieces of shit. Oh, yeah! Have a good day. Peace! Go watch some Star Wars, motherfuckers!